All right, well, as it says, my name's Alex Colodi. I am a local guide. I fish the Finger Lakes primarily. We're going to talk on how to pattern bass in general. It's not as easy as it sounds. Does this thing want to work? Well, anyway, yeah, it's not working. Bass are very temperature oriented. All right. If we can get the next slide here, we're going to talk about springtime fishing. We're going to go spring through fall. I'm going to kind of tell you what to look for temperature-wise, what to look for structure-wise. All right. Springtime. How many of you like to get out early spring, as soon as the ice is gone? All right. Water temperature is usually 38 degrees. Excellent. As soon as the ice is gone, you're looking at between 35 to 40 degrees first couple weeks of spring. What that usually does to the fish, specifically the bass, it pulls them up out of the deep water. They feel that shallow water warm temperature happening. Wintertime spots for bass are 30, 40 feet deep. They sit on the bottom. That's where the big bulk groups of fish sit. They will migrate shallow throughout the wintertime. I don't know if you guys do any ice fishing and use an underwater camera. You will see them come up. You will see them get near things. You will see them be caught on tip-ups. But their metabolism slows down drastically in the wintertime, meaning they're running at about 10% efficiency. So picture your car with one wheel on it. You're not going very far. You're not doing a whole lot of things, you know. One wheel doesn't get you anywhere. You need four. The metabolism in a bass is kind of similar. Takes them like 2 or 3 weeks to break down anything they eat in the wintertime, so they slow down drastically. Now, you take that and you scale that up a couple degrees water temperature into the springtime. Now you're looking at 38 to 40 degree water temperature. Metabolism is still super slow, but they're running 30% efficiency, okay? So what happens there is you're going to want to fish slow things. You're going to want to fish things that are right on the bottom. We're going to get to this next slide next. But my main lure selection for springtime bass at 38 degree water temperature in the circled areas on the map, and the center map is the one that's anything in red. Those are your springtime areas. They're shallow. They're 5-6 feet deep on average. All right. So what I concentrate on when it's that cold, 38, 45 degree water, we're using finesse baits. Only finesse baits. Crankbaits, you might get one to eat, you may not. Spinnerbait, don't even attempt to throw it. You're going to get a few fish, maybe, if you're lucky, if the conditions are right during that cold time frame. You want to catch 30, 40 fish, you want to catch big fish. Best thing to throw would be a tube jig, even a Mr. Twister or grub, just a straight finesse worm. The straight finesse worm and the tube jig are probably your best selections for this type of thing, this temperature range. Because when that water's cold, the only thing that's really moving are the crayfish. They're coming out of the mud, but they're still cold. So they're moving real slow. So you got to imitate the bait. The bass are still moving slow. Their metabolism just starting to warm up. They're just starting to get in gear. So they're swimming up from the deep. I don't know if you guys have been out there that time of the year and you catch a lot of fish that are real pale. They almost look yellow. Those are fish that are sitting out deep. Sitting in the mud, they're sitting in the sand in 40 feet of water. The bass will change colors according to their surroundings. So when they're out deep, they're going to be very pale. They're going to be pink. They're going to be yellow, hues to them. They're not going to have that real drastic black lateral line. You pull a fish out of the weeds in the summertime, they're real dark. Sometimes you can catch a largemouth that's almost black, jet black like a trash bag. That depends where they're sitting. If they're sitting in a dark hole in the weeds, sitting in a dark hole in the bank, undercut bank, they're going to change colors to their surroundings so they blend in. Camouflage, basically. So when it's real cold out, you want your real slow-moving baits. That's that 38 to 45 degree water temperature, roughly. All right? And these lakes here, we got a little laser pointer. Okay, this is Seneca Lake here. Very, very deep lake. All right? Deep section here, all the topo lines get real close together. This is not springtime. All right? There are bass there, but you're not going to get a whole lot of them there. Where your bulk of the fish that are going to be active is up here where it's shallow. And even that line right there, that's a 100-foot topo line. So that's not the greatest, but see how there's no topo lines up here? That means it's anywhere from 4 feet to 40 feet in this lake, because that's shallow for that lake. All right, your smallmouth, your largemouth, they're going to gang up on the north shore here. They're going to start feeding. The north ends of all the Finger Lakes tend to be the warmest. And this is Cayuga, Canisius, and Seneca. If you notice, they're all kind of set up the same way. The glaciers moved the same way through the Finger Lakes. They all dug them out the same way, basically. South end of pretty much every Finger Lake is the deepest. Cayuga is the deepest. Canisius is the deepest. Seneca is the deepest. North ends are all shallow here. All right. So that's what you're looking for in the springtime. You're looking for that shallow stuff that's going to warm up the fastest. Predominant winds in New York State are northwest, west-northwest. So you want something that's protected by the wind. All right. So north end of Canisius, northwest, north, the whole north end is relatively calm, relatively protected in the springtime. This is where your warmest water is. Right here, where are we? Right here is the boat launch on Canisius, for instance. You do catch a few here where the red is, because it's shallow flat there, but the bulk of your active fish are right here, and the majority of them are right here. You go up there in the springtime, you throw the finesse baits. As soon as the water opens up, 38, 40 degrees, you're going to catch fish. Same thing on Cayuga. Whole north end of Cayuga for about 6 miles, it's like 10 feet deep. Doesn't matter where you go there. You're in a 10-foot flat, you find a clump of weeds, you find a rock pile, throw your finesse baits, you're going to catch fish. All right?
Are you working the baits any differently in the spring than in the warmer weather?
Springtime, you're crawling that bait as slow as you can move it. I'm talking, if you think you're fishing slow, you fish it slower. If it takes you 3 minutes to reel your lure in, make it 6. That's the exaggeration that I'm using. You need to fish slow. You can't fish slow enough in the springtime. I mean, you could almost throw your bait out there, a finesse bait, in that 38 to 45 degree water temperature, and just let it sit there and hold it and move it every 30 seconds. I'm not kidding you. You could just shake it, let it sit there. Let it sit there, let it sit there. Maybe move it a foot, shake it again, let it sit there. Move it another foot, shake it again, let it sit there. You can't move it slow enough in the springtime because those fish are still so cold. If you haven't noticed, a lot of fish in the spring, early spring, they don't jump a lot. If they do come up, they might give you a head shake. They're not coming straight out of the waters because their metabolism's moving so slow. Their body temperature's so cold. They're not active. They're just active enough to start feeding. All right. This is just a quick rundown of things that